My name is Lars Anders Tomter. We're now going to listen to first movement, maybe second, of Schubert's Arpeggione Sonata with Gustavo Rebelo and Tuyan Wong. Yeah, it's a long movement, so let's do one at a time. Lots of good playing. You're an extrovert player, and that suits a lot of this music. You know, usually when I play chamber music with piano sonatas, I play with the score because I think it's a strong, it's a kind of signal which I don't like so much, that the pianist is with the score and I'm not. But this is maybe one of the exceptions, because it's in many ways such an untypical sonata. It's really a showcase for the instrument. It was commissioned as such. So the piano part is really has like Liedbegleitung, you know, quite a lot of it, or throughout actually, just much longer. So I think you could consider that, whether you have it there or not, to use it a little less. And that would bring you more in the role of a singer, and there is a lot of song here. And I think one of the things I would develop further, if I were you, is something which is not at all bad, but it could be even more exquisite, is your voice, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, goes so much between song and dance, and that a song has the most exquisite, you know, if you think of your favorite singer, be it Fischer Dieskau or whoever, and how a voice just grabs you, you know? And it's not like it needs to have the more spices, the more garlic, the better, you know? If you have just the best steak, you don't need much more, you know? Or Portuguese pulpo, you know? You know, you put it on a grill and grill it right, and that's it. A little bit of olive oil. So this is a little bit what I would work on with you. And it comes from the very beginning. The very first phrase is pretty good because we already worked on it. So, and it has some technical connotations that you typically, it's a question of, you know, viola is a typical virtuoso instrument for sound. That's what I say. So and what is the challenge is to make a sound, you know, should it be beautiful or should it be true? You know, there's always truth or beauty. I think what is incredibly important for our middle register is that it's meaningful. You know, if it's meaningful, it will be beautiful. If it's just beautiful, it will not be beautiful.
Very meaningful. Yeah.
and not very beautiful. So this is the secret of the middle register, you know. And when we start this, you know, it's all about be economic about everything, you know. Not much vibrato. You're presenting something very simple, but you want a sound which is meaningful. So everything having to do with speed, point of contact, friction is just right. It's not as much as possible or as little as possible. It's just right. So try now to get this unspectacular but meaningful voice, is because you are lively, which is great, and that you quite often lose a little bit of quality, especially in pianos, you know. Mm-hmm.
It's very flat-handed.
Yeah, and your fortes don't go wild, which is good in this. But your pianos sometimes lose a little bit of possibility to carry a meaning. Yeah, let's not try from the beginning, and be very careful with what we add. We have a good pulpo, we have a little bit of olive oil.
Very stoic about it.
Yes, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt, nothing else. Okay, so you know that's why I put this together. You don't need to read that phrase, do you? And you know, what is melody? It's a storytelling. It moves in time. It's horizontal. You can appear a bit vertical sometimes, especially if you go like this to. So think of this is. Think of it. There is a little bit of vertical elements. It is enough to create a friction. It's enough to have a little reminiscence of a pulse, which is anyway not an important part here, but is mainly a horizontal thing. And then try to set yourself up horizontally. Feel the bowing is going this way and not this way. Yes. That was a very beautiful first phrase. You could even have been a little bit more economic with the vibrato, but it was beautiful the way it was. It wasn't. But then comes.
Not good.
You know, and it is because it has a flexion, this dancing element. And when you make a flexion, you lose point of contact. You should lighten the grip. It's a curve going this way, but not this way.
That way. Okay.
Yeah. You can adjust it up it to the second phrase. Yes, good. Yes, good. Because it needs a certain slimness, actually, a little core, you know? Yes, exactly. To have this core in the middle register is so important, actually. It is a special challenge for violists. You know, the cellists play it like a tenor. They play up on the A string and everything. And some of it is more difficult, but a lot of it is actually a lot simpler when it comes to exactly what I'm talking about now.
Exactly.
To make a meaningful sound. So, hence, viola is a virtuoso instrument for sound. So, just one thing. You know, he writes slur with dots. For me, that's not a bowing. It's an articulation. So, it's a portamento, not...
Shall I go from there?
Yeah. Yes, but you know what happens? You know why?
Yeah.
It's because you... Yes. Good. You're now being a bit careful about this boring, concrete thing, but it's important. It's like a singer, you know, they work with their voice, and there are lots of very concrete little things that affect it. Now, could you move quite a bit, and it's not always a pleasure to watch. It's a little bit like you're a snake who's caught in a cage or something and want to get out. Can you try to just move this? Do that from the very beginning, a couple of bars before. Okay, yeah. Did you feel you had to control yourself not to do all this movement?
A little, but I guess the upside is worth it.
You know, because when I say it's not always a pleasure to look at your movements, it's because you look like you're trying to escape or get free or something, and not making
Not
it.
making it so. Yeah.
Yes, now you seem more free.
Okay.
So it's a little bit, you will get free if you stop fighting for, you know? So, but it's a little bit of a habit. But it also sounded better. Can you, just one thing, can that be a bit rounder? Because there's a forte piano coming later. That's the forte piano, but da, ri, ra, ra. Make that a little bit more of a
Arch.
plateau, you know?
Should I go from?
You know, no, because just around there, don't lose momentum. Keep the flow, yeah. So do the same thing actually.
Okay.